Emma had always lived a quiet life in a small countryside town where time passed slowly and gossip traveled faster than the wind. That morning, she wore her only clean white blouse and a pair of jeans slightly tighter than she remembered. The old bus dropped her off at the dusty entrance of the ranch, where silence seemed to echo louder than her nervous heartbeat. She wasn't used to such wide spaces or to being watched. But there he was, the ranch owner. Tall, sun-kissed skin, arms marked by years of work, and eyes that scanned her like a puzzle he was eager to solve. Emma cleared her throat, clinging to the strap of her bag. "I'm looking for a job," she said, trying to hide the tremble in her voice. He didn't answer right away. Instead, he stepped closer, studying her without saying a word. "You ever worked on a ranch before?" he asked, voice low, deliberate. She shook her head. "No, but I can learn, fast." That was the first moment the air shifted. "Follow me," he said, turning his back without waiting. She followed, unsure if she was stepping into a job or into something far more complicated. As they crossed the barn's wooden doors, the scent of leather, wood, and something else, something male, wrapped around her. Every step deeper into the property seemed to unwrap another layer of mystery. And yet, she couldn't help but feel excited. His gaze lingered too long. His voice dropped too low. And the way he opened the office door, letting her enter first, it wasn't just manners. It was a test. Inside the room, he finally sat down. He said, "I don't hire just anyone, but there's something about you." Emma didn't know if it was a compliment or a warning. She smiled, cautiously, and then he said something that made her pulse spike. "Let's see what you're really capable of." And in that moment, the job interview turned into something entirely unexpected.
The room was dimly lit, with afternoon sunlight streaming through dusty blinds. Emma stood in front of the desk, trying to keep her breathing steady. His name was Caleb. She read it on the bronze plate beside a small cactus. Even the air inside seemed warmer with him there, heavy, slow, charged. "You ever handle horses?" he asked. "No, but I'm good with animals," she replied quickly. "I had a dog and 2 goats, actually." He raised an eyebrow, a slight grin playing at the edge of his mouth. "Goats, huh? That's a start." Emma shifted her weight, feeling his gaze on her, like he was peeling back layers without needing to touch her. He stood and walked around the desk slowly, his boots thudding against the wooden floor with purpose. "Out here," he said, "people don't last if they don't get their hands dirty." "I don't mind dirt," she said before she could stop herself. His smile widened just a little. "We'll see." They stepped outside again, the sun hitting Emma's face like a spotlight. Caleb walked ahead, leading her past stables, open fields, and finally to a tool shed. He unlocked the door, pulled it open, and gestured for her to go in first. It smelled of oil, hay, and cedar wood. Tools hung neatly on the walls, some of them unfamiliar, all of them intimidating. "I need someone to organize this space," he said. "Shouldn't take more than a couple hours. Think you can handle that?" "Yes, sir." He leaned on the doorframe, watching her as she stepped in, still holding the door open behind her. "Call me Caleb, but keep the sir when you mean it." That sentence lingered in the air longer than it should have. Emma felt her cheeks warm, unsure if it was from the heat or something else entirely. 30 minutes in, she was already sweating. The shed was quiet except for the sound of metal clinking and her own breathing. She stretched to reach a shelf, her blouse rising just enough to reveal the small of her back. And behind her, Caleb cleared his throat. She turned. He was still there, watching. "You're doing better than I expected, but you've still got a lot to prove."
The heat inside the shed was rising, or maybe it was just Emma's pulse. She could feel a drop of sweat roll down the curve of her neck as she crouched to stack a set of boxes. Behind her, she heard the faintest creak of Caleb's boots shifting on the wooden floor. "You organize like someone who's done this before," he said, his voice low, close. Emma looked over her shoulder. "Maybe I'm just a fast learner." He stepped inside, letting the door slowly close behind him with a soft click. The sunlight streaming through a side window lit half of his face, shadowing the rest. His eyes lingered on her, thoughtful, unreadable. "You want to keep working here, you need to understand something." Emma straightened, brushing a strand of hair behind her ear. "What's that?" He took one step closer. "Out here, things are slower, but deeper. We take our time, but we don't pretend." She swallowed, her back brushing against the edge of a shelf. "I'm not pretending." Another step. Now they were just a breath apart. Caleb reached past her, picking up a pair of leather gloves from the shelf without touching her, but her skin still tingled like he had. "Good," he murmured. Emma didn't move. Her instincts told her to back away, but something stronger kept her rooted there, curious, pulled in by the tension stretching between them like a wire about to snap. He offered her the gloves. "You'll need these." She took them slowly, their fingers barely grazing. A charge sparked between them, light but impossible to ignore. Caleb gave her a long look, then stepped back. "Come by the stables when you're done. There's more I want to show you." He left the door open this time. Emma stood there for a moment, heart racing. She let out a shaky breath, put the gloves on, and got back to work. At least, she tried. But the rhythm was broken now.
The path to the stables was lined with tall grass swaying in the breeze. Emma's boots crunched softly on the gravel as she walked, the setting sun painting the sky in strokes of gold and deep orange. Her pulse hadn't slowed since she left the shed. There was a hum in her chest, part nerves, part something she didn't dare name. As she neared the stables, she saw him. Caleb was brushing one of the horses, sleeves rolled, arms taut, back turned to her. The calm with which he moved was hypnotic, a rhythm that seemed too perfect to be accidental. "Thought you got lost," he said without turning. Emma leaned against the doorway. "Maybe I just wasn't sure if I should come." He glanced back, a slow smile playing on his lips. "But you did." She stepped inside, the scent of hay and leather wrapped around her. Caleb handed her the brush. "Ever worked with horses?" She shook her head. "No, but I can learn." "Good," he said, guiding her hand with his over the horse's side. "You don't need to rush it. Just feel it. Gentle, but steady." Her fingers moved slowly, mimicking his pressure. Every time their hands brushed, her breath caught. The air felt thick between them, the silence charged like a sky before a storm. He stepped closer behind her, close enough that she could feel the warmth of his chest against her back. "See?" he murmured. "You're already getting it." Emma didn't answer. She couldn't. Her thoughts scattered like leaves in the wind. His voice was right at her ear now. "You're not just here for the paycheck, are you?" he asked, his tone more curious than accusing. She turned slightly, her eyes meeting his. "Are you?" For a second, time paused. Neither of them blinked. Then Caleb reached up and tucked a loose strand of hair behind her ear. His touch was gentle. That night, Emma couldn't sleep. She lay on the bed in the small guest room Caleb had offered her. Simple, clean, but with a lingering scent of cedar wood and something distinctly masculine. The walls were thin, and every creak of the old ranch house felt louder in the dark. She replayed every moment, the way he looked at her, the way his hand had lingered near hers,
the unspoken invitation hanging between the silences. She turned restlessly under the sheets. Somewhere down the hall, a door opened. Soft footsteps on wooden floors. Emma sat up, heart racing. A knock. Quiet. Intentional. She opened the door. Caleb stood there, his eyes shadowed but steady. "I couldn't sleep either," he said. She stepped aside. He didn't move. "I shouldn't, but I will." He walked in slowly, as if crossing a line he knew couldn't be uncrossed. The door clicked shut behind him. Emma stood still, waiting. Caleb looked at her like she was something rare, untouched by time or doubt. Not a word was spoken. He sat at the edge of the bed, elbows on knees, hands clasped together. "You don't know what you're doing to me," he said, barely above a whisper. Emma stepped closer. "I think I'm starting to understand." Their eyes locked. Then everything else melted away. He didn't touch her. Not yet. He just looked. Her breath quickened under his gaze, every nerve awake. The silence between them wasn't empty. It pulsed. Caleb finally reached out, brushing her wrist with a feather-light touch. Her skin burned beneath it. "You should sleep," he said, voice tight. "I will, after this moment ends." It didn't. Not for a long time. They sat together in the quiet, not needing to speak.